There is a moment in baseball, a fraction of a second, where the ball leaves the pitcher's hand and the batter's brain makes a decision that no human being should be able to make that fast. Identify the pitch. Calculate the spin. Predict the location. Decide to swing. Transfer that decision from the brain through the spine, through the shoulders, through the hips, through the hands, and make contact with a ball traveling at 95 miles per hour. All of that in less than 0.4 of a second. Most hitters in the world struggle to do this against ordinary pitching. Elite hitters do it consistently. The best hitters in history did it in big moments, under pressure, when everything was on the line. And then there is Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani doesn't just do all of that. He does all of that, and then hits the ball so hard, so fast, so violently into the seats that the entire stadium forgets to breathe for a full 2 seconds before erupting into absolute chaos. Bases loaded. Full count. The biggest moment of the game. And Ohtani? Ohtani treated it like a Tuesday afternoon in the batting cage. That home run wasn't just a home run. It was a statement. It was a reminder. It was Shohei Ohtani standing in the batter's box and telling every pitcher, every scout, every analyst, and every fan watching from their couch at home the same thing he has been telling the baseball world for years. You have not seen my limit yet. Let's set the scene properly. Because context is everything with Ohtani. The numbers alone never tell the full story. You need to feel the weight of the moment to understand why this particular home run has the entire baseball world losing its mind. Bases loaded. That means the pressure is already at maximum. Every base occupied. Every out precious. The entire offensive momentum of the game sitting on the shoulders of one man standing 60 feet away from a pitcher who is trying to end the inning without giving up a single run. Most batters tighten up in that situation. The strike zone feels smaller. The pitcher's fastball feels faster. The crowd noise either lifts you or suffocates you, depending on who you are and how many times you have been in that spot before. Ohtani stepped in and the crowd noise became something else entirely. Not pressure. Electricity. Because the people in that stadium, and the millions watching on television and online, already knew what was possible. They had seen it before. They have been seeing it for years. And still, every single time Ohtani digs into the batter's box with runners on base and the game hanging in the balance, every single person watching holds their breath. Because with Ohtani, possibility feels different. It feels inevitable. The pitch came. Ohtani's hips rotated. The barrel of the bat found the ball at the exact perfect millisecond. And the sound, that sound that every baseball fan knows, the sound that is completely different from every other contact sound in the sport, rang out through the stadium like a gunshot. Gone. Not a warning track shot. Not a ball that barely clears the fence and makes you wonder. Gone. Completely and emphatically gone. The kind of hit that makes outfielders stop running before the ball even lands because they knew from the moment it left the bat, that there is absolutely nothing they can do. Grand slam. 4 runs. Ohtani standing at the plate for one brief, composed second before beginning his home run trot as the stadium exploded around him. The American media, the Japanese media, the fans in the seats, the fans watching from 7,000 miles away in Japan, everyone reacted the same way. Insane. That is the only word that fits. A grand slam from Shohei Ohtani would be the biggest story of any other player's week. For Ohtani, it happened on the same day he was throwing in the bullpen. Let that land for a moment. The same arms and shoulders and legs and core that produced a blazing fast grand slam in a live game situation were also being used hours earlier to throw pitches in the bullpen. The same body that pitchers spend their entire careers protecting and preserving, carefully managing pitch counts, skipping starts, monitoring arm stress with the latest technology, that same body was warming up on the mound before going out and destroying a baseball into the seats. This is what separates Ohtani not just from every player alive today, but from virtually every player who has ever played this game. His normal is not normal. When reporters asked about the bullpen session after the game, the answers from people who watched it were almost amusing in how casually extraordinary they were. "He was throwing in the bullpen today," one source noted. As if that sentence alone wasn't already something that would make any other power hitter in baseball's jaw drop. Throwing in the bullpen the same day as a Grand Slam performance. Imagine being a starting pitcher in the major leagues. You throw once every 5 days. Between starts, your entire routine is built around recovery, ice, massage, light stretching, carefully monitored throwing programs designed to protect your arm from the accumulated stress of a 162-game season. The bullpen on off days is not for hard throwing. It is for maintenance. For feel. For keeping the mechanics sharp without adding unnecessary stress to an arm that is your entire livelihood. That is the world's best pitchers. That is how they treat their arms. And Ohtani uses that same arm, on a bullpen day, and then goes out and hits a grand slam so hard the baseball leaves the atmosphere. One reporter put it perfectly, "He's the guy who was throwing in the bullpen today." And then he did that. Yes. And this is Tuesday for him. The reaction from American sports media to Ohtani in 2025 has reached a level that goes beyond baseball analysis and enters something closer to wonder. This is a media landscape that has covered Babe Ruth's records for a century. That has written millions of words about Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Mickey Mantle, Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, and Mike Trout. These are men whose careers define generations. Men whose names are permanently attached to the greatest moments the sport has ever produced. And the American media, the same reporters and analysts who grew up worshipping those names, are running out of comparisons for Shohei Ohtani. After this Grand Slam, the commentary was immediate and overwhelming. Television analysts were interrupting their scheduled programming to talk about it. Baseball writers who have covered the sport for 30 years were reaching for words and finding that the standard vocabulary of baseball analysis simply doesn't have the right ones. "There is no precedent for this," one veteran baseball journalist wrote. "We keep waiting for Ohtani to become explainable and he just keeps refusing." Another analyst on a major sports network went further. "At some point we have to stop treating what Ohtani does as surprising and start treating it as the new standard. He has given us no reason to expect anything less than extraordinary." The television ratings for Dodgers games when Ohtani is pitching or when he comes to the plate in a critical moment have become appointment television in a way that baseball hasn't experienced in years. Bars fill up. Offices gather around screens. People who don't follow baseball find themselves pulled in by the sheer magnetism of watching a human being do things that seem physically impossible. The American media didn't create Ohtani's legend. But they have watched it grow from up close, and right now, in 2025, there is a near universal agreement among the people who cover this sport professionally. They have never seen anything like him. They may never see anything like him again. If the media reaction has been extraordinary, the stadium atmosphere when Ohtani steps into the batter's box, especially in a loaded situation, especially with the game on the line, is something that television cameras struggle to fully capture. The noise is part of it. But it is not just the volume. It is the quality of the noise. There is a specific frequency of crowd sound that only exists when a stadium full of people is collectively holding its breath and screaming at the same time. It is the sound of 50,000 people caught between anticipation and eruption. That is the sound Ohtani produces at the plate. Fans who have attended Dodger Stadium in 2025 described the experience of watching Ohtani bat in a critical moment as genuinely unlike anything else in sports. "I've been to playoff games," one season ticket holder said. "I've been to Game 7s. But when Ohtani comes up with the bases loaded, the air in the building changes. Everyone knows something is about to happen. You can feel it. That feeling, that collective premonition of greatness, is something Ohtani has cultivated through years of delivering in exactly those moments. The crowd has been trained by evidence. Every time they have felt that electricity, Ohtani has rewarded it with something unforgettable. And so the belief grows. And so the atmosphere intensifies. And so the stadium transforms, every time he walks to the plate, into something that feels less like a baseball game and more like a shared religious experience. Even opposing fans, visiting supporters who came to cheer for the other team, find themselves watching differently when Ohtani bats. There is a part of every baseball fan, regardless of team affiliation, that wants to witness greatness. That wants to be in the building when something historic happens. And when Ohtani steps in with the bases loaded, even the opposition quietly wonders. Is this the moment? With Ohtani, the answer is always possibly yes. The bullpen session detail keeps coming back because it is the key to understanding everything about Shohei Ohtani. His normal is not your normal. His normal is not any player's normal. His normal is showing up before anyone else. His normal is a preparation routine that has been refined and adjusted since his teenage years in Japan, where he was already treating his body with the discipline of a veteran professional before he had played a single game as a pro. His normal is a diet precisely calibrated to the demands of a two-way player, higher carbohydrates in the off-season for building, cleaner proteins and vegetables during the season for performance and recovery. His normal is film study, bullpen sessions, batting practice, and then performing at the highest level when the game is on the line. His normal is doing two jobs that every other player in baseball considers a full-time career, and doing both of them better than almost everyone alive. And his normal, apparently, includes throwing in the bullpen on the same day he hits a bases-loaded grand slam so hard that the ball seems to leave the solar system. The American media has a phrase for athletes who consistently do the extraordinary: he makes the hard look easy. But with Ohtani, it isn't even that. He doesn't make the hard look easy. He makes the impossible look routine. That is the most unsettling and extraordinary thing about him. Not any single performance. Not any single home run or strikeout or MVP award. It is the relentless, day after day, season after season consistency of a player who has set an entirely new category of performance and then met it every single time he steps on the field. After the grand slam landed in the seats and the stadium finished its eruption and Ohtani rounded third base and touched home plate and acknowledged his teammates, after all of that settled down, a reporter asked a simple question. What was he thinking when he stepped into the box with the bases loaded? Ohtani's answer, through his interpreter, was as calm as everything else about him. I just wanted to hit the ball hard. He just wanted to hit the ball hard. No mention of the pressure. No mention of the bases-loaded situation or the crowd or the moment or the weight of 50,000 people's expectations on his shoulders. No talk of legacy or records or being the best player in the world. He just wanted to hit the ball hard. And he did. He hit it harder than anyone had any right to expect. He hit it on a day when he was also throwing in the bullpen. He hit it in front of a stadium that had been waiting all game for exactly that moment. He hit it in front of a media that has been watching him for years and still does not have the right words. This is Shohei Ohtani's normal. And his normal? His normal is truly on another level entirely.